welcome back to another episode of the Carter Cast. I'm your host, Carter Bond. On today's show, we recap Game 5 of the NBA Finals, Golden State's double-digit win over the Boston Celtics, and then we preview Game 6 in Boston. We give our predictions and everything for that, and then we move on. We talk a little NBA draft, who's going top 3, who we like, who we don't like, and then the storylines behind that as well. And then we do a little college basketball briefly, and then we close with a bunch of NFL talk. It's a phenomenal show. Make sure to check out our YouTube, CarterCast, Spotify, subscribe wherever you're listening right now. And then also we have interviews coming back next week, so stay on the lookout for that. And I hope you enjoy the show. But before we get into today's show, we are brought to you by Pod Talk. Pod Talk is the best way to listen to podcasts. It has the best interface compared to every other podcast listening app out there. I use Pod Talk myself. Go download it right now in the App Store. Go join group discussions on your favorite podcasts like this one. Go subscribe and talk about the CarterCast in the CarterCast group discussion on Pod Talk right now. Download Pod Talk in the App Store today. And now here's the show. All right, we're back. Golden State up 3-2. Game 5 happened. Steph Curry was awful. Andrew Wiggins was the best player in the game.
Yep.
This series just feels weird. Because we talked about it last time, like it doesn't feel like it's the best basketball.
It doesn't. And the thing is, it's not one of those star-studded matchups, it feels like, where it's like, oh, LeBron versus Durant. You know, it's just like the Warriors are here and then the up-and-coming Celtics. Like, yes, obviously there's star power on both sides, but it's a little bit of ugly basketball. Like, there was stretches in that second, third quarter where I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what am I watching? Like, I'm pretty sure the Warriors were like 3 for 15 from 3 at one point, and the Celtics started like 0 for 12 one game. It just doesn't seem smooth. They seem like they're tight. I don't know.
And that's like any championship game in any sport. Everybody's going to be tight at first, and that's why there's very few high scoring championship games. But you texted me something that was hilarious. You were like, if this wasn't an NBA Finals game, it just feels like an October Pistons Rockets game.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It feels like one of those league pass games where you're like, man, the game I was watching just ended. Like, this one's got 5 minutes left. It's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. I guess I'll turn it on from Sacramento and just watch it till I go to sleep. Like, that's what it felt like. Some of the basketball.
Yeah, it was just a weird game. The thing is, like, people make fun of Draymond's stat line, even though Draymond's stat line was way better than it was in previous games, and he somehow keeps fouling out, and they win when he fouls out somehow.
It's so weird.
But he set the tone early, and that made all the difference. He set the tone early.
100% it did, and it's just crazy. A quick note on Draymond. Like, I look back at some of these older games, like when they were playing the Cavs in the finals, he was not a bad three-point shooter. Like, you had to guard him out there. Like, there was games he had like 30-plus points in the playoffs. And now it's like he can't even throw a rock in the ocean, which is crazy. But other than that, he had a great game, I thought. Set the tone. Those dribble handoffs that he fakes, it's almost like an RPO, like in football. Like, you fake that handoff. They're so used to Curry, Clay, Jordan Poole getting that handoff, and you have to hedge up and double, and you can't drop or they're going to hit a three. So the Celtics are already thinking about hedging up there, like Robert Williams, Al Horford. He just blows by him. Like, that's almost an unguardable play. Like, you have to guess what he's going to do.
Yeah, and then at halftime, you're like, okay, this game kind of feels like the Warriors, whatever. Celtics come out, punch them right in the mouth. They're back in it. You're like, oh, we actually have a game here, and then dwindles. Warriors end up taking over. The thing that was interesting, though, is the whole time you're thinking, okay, when's Curry going to get going? When's Curry going to get going? By the second half, he looked scared to shoot.
Yeah, and he was visibly frustrated after every miss, which is something that, you know, I don't want to speculate too much, but if you're visibly frustrated and you're in your own head, are you really going to, like, you got to just brush it off. You know, I'm saying that as a, you know, guy watching the NBA finals, talking to NBA players, but still, like, Jason Tatum, visibly frustrated, and he'll miss like 8 or 9 shots in a row and then just get pissed off.
Yeah. And the thing with Tatum too, is he's missed a lot of easy layups, but he's also been taking a lot of like just hard layups,
tough shots,
hard layups and tough shots. And he just needs to be taking the mid-range jumper more. He needs to take the mid-range jumper. And he's just I think a bunch of people have been pointing out how he looks hurt. People, especially in the arena, said he looks hurt. And that's why he's not going for contact, because he is avoiding contact at all costs.
Yeah, and that may be true. And something will probably come out after the finals, especially if they lose, which, you know, if that's what it is, and that's fair. But then again, it's June. Nobody's 100% healthy. Like if he was so unhealthy where he couldn't play, then he wouldn't be out there. So people can criticize his performance all they want to. You also have to credit Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, the Warriors defense. They're doing a great job walling him up at the rim, getting him away from the basket, ripping those balls from them. And the Celtics are just turnover prone. Whether it be they haven't been here before, it's obviously most of this team's first finals. The big stars, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, never been here before. Maybe it's just a little bit of nerves. Like Jaylen Brown for a stretch last night at the end of the game could not hold on to the ball. It was crazy.
No. And he's had that problem throughout the whole playoffs, though. His handles are atrocious. But then, like a couple of games this series, he looks like, he can create his own shot. He can drive. But then there's games like this where he just is a turnover machine. You mentioned him before, though. Andrew Wiggins, out of nowhere.
I love to see it, honestly. I've never been like a Wiggins fan, but I always thought he got a bad rap. He got sent to Minnesota, the worst possible situation. And he wasn't the number one option on a playoff team like everybody thought he should have been. But he's playing like a number one draft pick right now, if we're being honest. On the defensive end, in this finals, he's not a 30-point a game, Kyrie Irving, Zion Williamson kind of number one pick. But he was the best player last night in a Game 5 pivotal finals win. You can't ask for much else.
Like hesitation floaters he had driving in the lane, going to the side. Where
they
came at the biggest moments. And then the other biggest moment last night was Jordan Poole's three that he banked in.
Oh, 100% changed the entire momentum of that game.
The entire momentum goes right into the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth. That could not have been better timing. But going into Game 6, what do you think? What were you going to say?
Yeah, just about Jordan Poole. It's just crazy to me to watch him play because regular season, obviously Clay was hurt for a while, but regular season, even when he came back, Jordan Poole was playing 25 plus minutes a game and averaging I think he averaged 18 for the year. And then after Clay came back, dropped off a little bit. And the first couple rounds of the playoffs, still averaging 20 plus minutes a game, averaging double figures still. He only played 14 minutes last night. He still put up 14 points in 14 minutes. Like his production almost stays the same in the reduced minutes, which means less time for him and Curry to get exposed on the defensive end when they're on the court together. Like if you're Steve Curry, you can't ask for much else. Like you're reducing his minutes, but he's still giving you the same point production.
But that's the thing you noticed last night. They were attacking Jordan Poole every chance they got.
Yeah,
could not get him out of there fast enough.
100%. And the death lineup of Poole, Curry, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond Green won't work against the Celtics. And you've rarely seen that. They've probably played maybe 5 or 6 minutes of those five together, and that was the death lineup that everybody wanted in the first couple of rounds.
If you're the Celtics, you sit there. Curry does not make a single three-pointer. Goes, I think it went 0 for 9.
0 for 9.
0 for 9, 12 points in the game, and you lose by double digits.
You got to be sick if you're Boston because Marcus Smart, like they did the job. They face guarded Curry, made him uncomfortable, ran him off the screen, made him drive. He had, obviously 7 2-pointers, but obviously being very physical with him on the perimeter. They did what they had to do with Curry. Everybody was clamoring, oh, you have to guard Steph Curry. Like the Celtics are so dumb for letting Curry beat them. Like, of course he's going to beat them. Well, they changed it up. And then the supporting cast of the Warriors stepped up. Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Gary Payton had a great game.
Yeah. And also on Marcus Smart real quick, he has made so many big shots this playoffs. Like it feels a lot like in 2019 when Fred VanVleet just kept making every big shot. You're like, every time Marcus Smart shoots, I don't think it goes in. And when Fred VanVleet, now even up until the last minute of the last game in the NBA Finals when they won, every time he took a shot, I was like, that's not going in. It's Fred VanVleet.
Yep.
And Marcus Smart makes everything. Last night he came back down to earth. It came back down to earth in Game 5. But he has made so many big shots, so you can't complain at all.
And the thing is, he's also not a natural point guard. He's a 2 guard, and he's having to play the 1 for the
and he's
Celtics.
Playing way, way beyond what his potential was.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Boston is getting the most they possibly can out of Marcus Smart. And I thought, like, Derek White's been huge for them during the playoffs. I thought he'd be an even bigger role for them. Like, he was a starting point guard on a couple of – I don't know if the Spurs made the playoffs with him starting. I don't think they did. But he put up good numbers in San Antonio, and they were always competitive. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. He's been a little inconsistent. I guess he got there, with a couple months left in the season. So that's
he looks scared.
He does a little bit. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys, this is their first time on this stage.
I know I keep comparing like people to past sports experiences or whatever, but remember in the 2019 NCAA tournament when Virginia Tech and UCF just kept letting Trey Jones shoot threes? They're like, go shoot. Yeah. We're not going to guard you. That's how it feels with Derek White, and it's just in his head.
Yeah, and every now and then he'll have that breakout game where he has 25 off the bench, but more often than not, he's going to regress to the mean and go 0 for 7.
Exactly. But yeah, game 6, Boston is -4, over-unders 210. The over-unders have been weird this series.
Yeah.
Boston -4. I think I would take Boston -4. I think Boston comes out hot.
I mean, if they play Luke Cornett more, then maybe, because he's got more points in the last 5 minutes of the finals than Jason Tatum does. What a crazy stat for all you viewers out there. Points scored in the last 5 minutes of the first 5 finals games. Jason Tatum 3, Luke Cornett 5. Just saying.
Big Legend. 3 last night. There was a lot of people had Boston plus 10.5 live. So that 3 was huge.
Yeah, that was huge then. Yeah, I don't know. Game 6 though.
Boston -4. That's a lot of points.
I don't like that. I think it could go either way, but it could very easily. Boston could very easily go down, and that's it. Like they came back from 3-2 against Milwaukee. They won a game on their home floor. Okay, but this is different.
The thing is, I think unless it's 20 plus, I think they can come back because we even saw in Game 5 last night. The Warriors were up 15-16 in the second quarter. That lead was irrelevant.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, because if the Warriors go cold from 3, then the Celtics can get back in it pretty easily. I don't know. It just feels like a series that should go 7. But I almost feel like the Warriors are going to win tomorrow.
Because everyone says like, oh, well, even if it goes back to Game 7, the Warriors are going to win in 7 in Golden State. But the thing is,
that's not true.
Right now, you can say that the second the Celtics actually win Game 6, everything falls on the Warriors. All the pressure's on Golden State. Every media show, every first take, every single show is going to say, oh, this is Curry's legacy on the line. It's all on the Warriors. The Warriors are about to choke this 3-2 lead they had. Could have won. Had 2 chances to win it.
What if Wiggins puts up like 40 in each of these next 2 gaams and wins Finals MVP? Curry fans would be
unless Curry had 2 more games of like 12 points and 0 threes. I think that's the only way. Because even with Curry's 12 points last night, he's still averaging over 30 points per game.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
yeah, I think
there is no way. There's no way. There's no way. If Andrew Wiggins dropped 50 in the next 2 games, like it's his.
Yeah, that would have to be it. I don't see that happening. I think, and honestly, I agree with that. Like, I think Curry deserves it. He's been the best player consistently on the Warriors this series, and people are hating on him because, like, oh, he only does well with the lead or whatever like that. What's he supposed to do when they have the lead? Not score? Like, I understand the point, but like, extending the lead, there's something to be said for that too. Like, you're only up 5-6 points. Like, you still need to make buckets and get stops. He's averaging 30 points per game in the finals. So
you can, and that's the thing too is, I think that's a bad argument. But are you going? Who wins Game 6?
My gut's telling me Boston in a close one. I think it'll be close, but I think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart even will hit a couple big shots at the end to really pull Boston away. I think it does go 7, and then I like the Warriors in 7 by double digits. I don't think Game 7 will be that close.
I think I literally think you'll be able to know the winner in the first 2 minutes on was it Thursday night the game is? On Thursday night, you're gonna know the winner in the first 2 minutes. Like, I know we say like that 10-point lead's irrelevant in the first quarter. Like, any NBA lead is anybody can come back from it. But the thing is, every game when a team has really set the tone early, besides Game 1, that team is typically won, even though they've almost always blown their lead in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Besides Game 1, that is 100% true. And the Warriors could come out flat and take it for granted, be like, oh, we're about to win a championship. Like, we have 2 shots at this. And the Celtics might come out hungry and then win Game 6. And then it's kind of a toss-up. I still like the Warriors in 7, though.
I think I like Warriors in 7, too, but I still think there's going to be way too much pressure on them if they lose Game 6. And that's another thing. That's another thing that's also weird is, like, whenever you win an NBA title, like, do you want to win it away or do you want to win it at home?
I mean, ideally, you'd want to win it at home.
I think you want to win it away.
You think?
I
You come in like no pressure. Yeah, I guess.
I think it would be better to win it away, especially in Boston.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome. You have your home crowd; they're loud and everything. But I feel like silencing a crowd and sending a crowd out would be way better than your own home fans who are going to support you no matter what.
Like Cleveland in 2016. Yeah. I agree with that. Especially Boston. Imagine if the Warriors won on Thursday and Draymond just goes crazy on the crowd. There might be a little
there's one
malice in the palace.
Yes.
A little malice in the palace action. A little rough and rowdy in the garden with Draymond.
Let's talk to NBA draft real quick. We talked about it before the show. It's been crazy how quiet it is. Remarkably quiet. It's just calm before the storm, it feels like, because it feels like it's going to be a wild draft no matter what, because we have no idea there's not a single pick where we know what's going to happen. Not one pick. I
agree. And I feel like right after the finals ends, give it a week, maybe not even a week, something's going to happen. It has to.
I mean, something has to leak out, because it always does. Something always leaks. But like, we don't even know 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, we don't even know what they're thinking about. The only thing, one we kind of have an idea on is the Hornets are definitely interested in trading their pick and are definitely interested in Mark Williams.
I think both those scenarios are good for the Hornets, because they traded up for Kai Jones last year. Obviously drafted James Bouknight with not the same 2 picks they have this year, but 2 picks in the same range, in the double-digit range, the teens. So if they do that again in this draft and they draft 2 more players just to ride the bench, like I think they need to move these picks in order to get some talent.
That's another thing I was talking about. It was with Mark and Philly and I. It does feel like that Orlando's down to a 2-horse race between Jabari and Chet. I don't think they pick Paolo.
I don't think so either. Because
I know I'm biased. I'm wearing a Duke hoodie. Say what you want. But the thing is, I think Paolo is the number 1 pick in my opinion. Like, I watch every Paolo game. The dude is the most pro-ready guy out of this draft. And we say that all the time, because when Jason Tatum was coming out, everyone's like, oh, he's the most pro-ready guy. But like Markelle Fultz, his potential, or Lonzo Ball, his potential. But why not just take the pro-ready guy? Paolo's going to come into the league right away and drop 20 a game.
That's the safest pick. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that, even from a Carolina standpoint. The thing is, teams are just too appetized by, oh my God, what if Chet Holmgren turns into Kristaps Porzingis on steroids and plays 82 games a year and averages 20, 10, and 5 blocks? Like, what if he shoots 35% from 3? There's like maybe like a 20% chance of that happening, but like on the off chance that it does, they won't be able to live with themselves if they passed on him. I think that's the appeal.
I mean, obviously it has to be. And plus, I mean, he's a 7'2" dude who can do everything. And then I really do think Jabari Smith, I really have Paolo. The more and more I watch stuff, the more and more I hear stuff, the more and more I just think about it. I have Paolo way ahead of these guys just because I have not seen Jabari Smith be a playmaker. Yes, he can make tough shots. I think he might be the best shooter in this draft. The frame is ridiculous. He's super athletic, but he is not a playmaker.
I agree. And Paolo's game is just, it seems more NBA ready. I watched a lot of ACC game, a lot of Duke games this past year. It seems more NBA ready. The shots he was making, drives to the lane, even when, he'd draw fouls, which is a big part of the pro game. His game just seems a lot more NBA ready. And back to Chet, he doesn't seem NBA ready. Like, I know potential development will get him in the weight room, but you have no guarantee that his game is going to get to that NBA level.
And one thing we kept talking about was that when he played against these truly athletic teams, he struggled. Arkansas, he struggled.
Yep.
Duke, he struggled. But then when he goes against teams like BYU, it's barbecue chicken the whole time.
But you're not going against the BYU in the NBA. That's the thing.
No.
You're going against athletic guys, switch every time, multiple players can guard you.
I mean, if you watch that Duke Gonzaga game, you're thinking, how on earth is anybody taking someone above Paolo?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the safest pick, although I doubt it happens.
No, I think Paolo. I wouldn't be surprised if he was at OKC though.
Yeah,
because
I can see that.
I can't remember who said it this week. I was listening to someone. They said, if you think about OKC's picks in the past, they have done controversial ones that have worked out. but they're not afraid to like not go with the stereotypical, this guy's the number 2 pick, this guy's the number 5 pick. They've either reached or like fallen back and gotten their guy. For example, like Russell Westbrook wasn't the consensus pick there, or James Harden.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if Paolo ends up on the Thunder, like, I mean, that's pretty good for them. They have Shai, who's a guard. Josh Giddey will point forward action. Like, Paolo could slide in there at the 4. You think he'll play forward in the league?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking that too.
I don't think defensively he'll play the 3.
I don't think so either. He seems a little like slow laterally for that, maybe, at least right now.
I don't think it's a slow thing. I just think he just doesn't move his feet as much on defense. I don't think the effort's there.
That's fair too. Yeah, and especially what I don't want to see with like somebody like him is going to a losing team. Yeah, putting up 20 points a night on 20 shots.
Rockets.
Exactly. It's Jalen Green.
Yeah, that's the Rockets, and that's the worst case scenario for him, I think, and that's where I do think he falls.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Like he's going.
The Rockets will 100% draft him there, and it'll be that situation. Like, yeah, him and Jalen Green will be so exciting. Like, Bleacher Report will just completely jerk off to them, but they're going to win 15 games, not play defense, get blown out every night. It's going to be a losing mentality, and I don't want to see him fall to that. Oh yeah, I'm averaging 20 on 20 shots, but we can't win a game.
And now there are rumblings now that like they're looking to trade Christian Wood, which makes all the sense in the world for them to draft Paolo.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Come back home, Christian Wood. Come back home.
Another thing on the draft real quick, 4 or 5 spots weird. Because like, who do the Kings take?
I don't know.
Because I don't even know if you can necessarily trade out of that position.
Now, 4's been a weird spot recently. Like Scotty Barnes, nobody expected him to go that high. Wasn't he 4th? Or was he 5th?
I think he was 4th. He was 4th.
I know was he?
Yeah, he was 4th.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Nobody thought he was going to go there.
That's what I'm saying. Like 4's a weird spot. Like there's been a lot of weird 4th overall picks in recent years.
Because it seems like it's down to Keegan Murray or Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily love either of those picks, but I don't hate either of them.
It's almost, and we say this every year, this was the same thing in the LaMelo draft with him, Wiseman, and Anthony Edwards. It's the top 3 on one tier, and then it's a tier down. And that's how it is this year, too, it feels like.
100%. I'm trying to pull this up real quick. I think it's going to be like what everybody originally thought. Jabari, then Chet, and Paolo, though, at 1, 2, 3. Because if you're the Kings, you can't draft Jaden Ivey when you have De'Aaron Fox. Because when you're a bad team, you don't want to draft based off need, but you also don't want to draft the exact same position where you have your franchise player in.
Exactly. I agree. And just on that 4th and 5th pick, I actually just pulled it up, like the list of the 4th picks recently. Here's this list, and they've all been kind of reaches. Scotty Barnes, nobody expected that. Worked out. Patrick Williams, nobody expected that. And that's DeAndre Hunter, a little high. Jaren Jackson, and then it goes Josh Jackson, Dragon Bender. Yeah, like the 4th pick is such a weird pick because it's either like, it doesn't seem like there's ever many superstars there. Like, the best player drafted 4th that I can see in recent memory is Kristaps Porzingis. And then all the way back to Russell Westbrook in 2008. But other than that, I mean, Cody Zeller's there, 2013.
Go. They have the Hornets picking on CBS.com. They have the Hornets picking Abaji and Mark Williams.
See, if the Hornets do keep a pick, I think Mark Williams is a great choice.
I think there's not another team around that area, I'd say, that would pick him.
No, and I don't think there's enough value in keeping both picks, though. I think one of them, if not both, has to get moved. If it takes both of those picks to get Miles Turner, that might be too much. But
yeah,
I mean,
I'd throw Gordon Hayward in there. They can have Gordon.
Yeah, if they take that salary, I'll give them all the picks in the world.
They wanted that salary before, and then we outbid them. But anyhow, they have Jeremy Sochan going 10th. To the Wizards.
I think that's unreal.
How? Because like you can always like pickpocket like people's college stats because like Devin Booker was the 6th man on Kentucky. Like you can always pickpocket those. But 9 points a game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot under 30% from 3. What does he really do besides bring energy to the game?
It reminds me of Scotty Barnes. He was Florida State's 6th man and averaged like 10 points a game.
But like you really saw it with Scotty Barnes because there were some games you're like, okay, this guy has it. Like I haven't seen that with him.
No, I didn't. I don't think.
I doubt he was on any draft boards until the Carolina game.
That's what I was about to say. Is the end of the year is like really when he started popping up, and he's just been going up repeatedly. Has he even done any workouts?
Yeah,
he has. Okay, I haven't really been like following.
Also,
him.
Every player that's done a Nuggets workout apparently does not miss in that gym. Because I've seen like 15 Nugget workout videos, and they're like they just make 15 threes in a row. They have Wendell Moore going 28th to Golden State.
So he dropped a little bit.
Yeah, he's been in that 20s range for a while. Trevor Keels, I don't see Trevor Keels first round on any single draft board.
I was about to say, what about Keels?
Nothing. I
can't believe he left.
One person I wouldn't hate the Hornets taking. I know people are always weirded out whenever you take foreign guys. The kid from Australia, Jang or whatever.
Okay.
I was watching a lot of his tape. He's good, man. He's got the pick and roll down. Really? I love him. But yeah, no, this is no draft is every single draft has something different on their board. Even really the top three is different.
Yeah, I really think there'll be some kind of big splash trade here coming up after the finals too. I could be wrong, but
I do too. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll do brief college basketball and get into the NFL. All right, let's talk a little college basketball. News came out today. John Fanta is now writing for Fox Sports now, so shout out to our guy Fanta. He'll be on the pod back soon. Just texted him today. But with college basketball, it seems like rosters are basically complete. There's a few loose hairs in the transfer portal right now. People have maybe one roster spot left. Duke's is filled. Gonzaga's filled. Carolina has one spot left.
Yep.
It feels weird talking about college basketball right now because nobody really cares.
It does, especially during the NBA Finals time. But I'm excited.
I'll see Duke stuff on my timeline. Obviously, I'm gonna look at it because it's Duke basketball. But at the same time, it's so far away.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird though, isn't it? With Shire's first year, I feel like you're gonna come out to that first game and it's gonna be this is. Really
it was like how it was with Roy. I mean,
yep,
a little higher magnitude, I think, but also only 4 returning players on Duke, including walk-ons.
Yeah, that's been more of a trend for Duke lately.
Yeah, and the one that matters is Jeremy Roach. Jeremy Roach is all that matters.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was no way he was going pro.
No, I thought Trevor Keels should have came back, but we got the kid from Illinois. That's a decent lineup. I have no idea how it's going to be. I have zero expectations going into this year. You're always whenever you're projected to be a top 10, 15 team, you always think national title in the back of your head. At minimum, Sweet 16.
That's the weird thing with Duke getting basically a whole revamped roster is you don't know what to expect. You don't know how they're going to gel. Brand new coach. I mean, not brand new, but new head coach. Whereas in Carolina's case, they returned almost everybody besides Brady Manick, who didn't have any eligibility left. But me as a fan, I know what I'm going to get. And this team made it to the national title last year with basically the exact same team. Don't get me wrong. Brady Manick was a huge part of that. And I think they're going to have to replace that production. But everybody else is back with another year under their belt, another year of maturing, all-season workouts, playing together. So in my mind, I'm thinking national championship. I'm thinking Final Four bust, honestly.
For Carolina, yeah. I mean, how can it? Yeah, it has to be Final Four bust.
100%. And last year definitely set expectations high. If Carolina would have gotten bounced by Baylor in the round of 32 and still returned everybody, the expectations would not be this high. But just because of what everybody saw they were capable of doing, they're a little higher now, which is fair. But yeah, from a fan standpoint, I think it's Final Four bust.
College basketball is going to be amazing this fall. And we'll get to that when it comes there. But November, December is the most outrageous sports months in the history of life.
I agree.
You have college basketball feast week, all the Maui Invitational. They're doing the PK 80 again. They're doing the Bahamas stuff. And then you have college football. All the big end-of-the-year college football games are right then around Thanksgiving. You have the NBA that's just going to be in the back seat. NFL still full force right then. And then you also have the World Cup right then. All 5 of those just right there in a month.
It's going to be crazy. Dude, you're forgetting the World Series.
No, that's November. Or the World Series is October.
You talking about November?
November, December is when all of it hits.
Okay. Yeah. You got okay. They're doing NFL and Christmas. They're doing NFL and Christmas again, right?
I know they're taking over the NBA.
They are, and I think they're going to pull more viewers easily.
100%. Let's talk about the NFL a little bit. It's slowly creeping back into our lives. You're starting to slowly get notifications here and there. Like, Robbie Anderson puts out a stupid retirement tweet, and then you get like little things trickle in there. Like, oh, Matt Corral went 13 of 13 in practice, looked amazing. Oh, the Panthers are warming up to the idea of Sam Darnold.
That's what I was going to say. And then you get the Matt Rhule loves the idea of Sam Darnold at the helm for another year. And the thing that I can't stand, I'm not like the biggest NFL fan in the world. I love the Panthers. I do follow the NFL pretty closely. I'm not like an insider or anything. But just from the outside looking in, it's this game of cat and mouse between Baker Mayfield and the Browns and then the Panthers, because it's like, oh, the Browns want to unload him to the Panthers, but they're not going to give up too much. And the Panthers are like more pressed to make a deal now, I feel like, just so he can get the reps in and they can just put this behind him. Because making a deal too close to the start of the year is just going to, like he won't have time to gel with the guys. It's just so weird. I don't like the situation at all. Like, it's dragged on too long.
Yeah, it has dragged. It just keeps dragging. It's just a constant, just effed up job by Matt Rhule and the Panthers. He constantly just everything he touches in the NFL just goes to crap. It seems like our defenses have been great, but that has to be from Phil Snow, because our offense has been so bad, and our decision making on offense has been terrible. Like, I understand we lose Christian McCaffrey those years and he gets hurt. Mm-hmm. Maybe that adds another win or two to last year, but we played horrible teams when we were 3-0. It was the fakest 3-0 you could have been. And also, every time he goes in a press conference, it turns into a game of cat and mouse, basically, where he lies constantly, where he says one thing and then does the other every single time. He's like, oh, we love this guy in practice. And then 30 minutes later, we get a Twitter notification saying he's cut. And then he goes in a press conference this week and says that, oh, Brady Christensen's been taking a lot of reps at left tackle. Ike Ekwonu's a long ways away from being our starting left tackle. It's like, then why draft him?
Unbelievable.
You keep putting it's constant with Matt Rhule. It's constant.
It is. It's misery. And it almost reminds me, like, if Matt Rhule really does handle it that way with the Icky situation, to a lesser extent, it's the James Borrego LaMelo thing. Like, yeah, I know it worked out. LaMelo's an all-star now. He should have been starting. I'm sorry. Devontae Graham, we were not a playoff team already. It's not like we were trying to incorporate him into a winning system. The Hornets sucked. Mm-hmm. And LaMelo was clearly going to be the guy of the future. And Borrego, put him on the bench, played him 15 minutes a game for the first month of the year. I think that was stupid. And if Matt Rhule does the same thing, that would be to have a top, was he sixth? We drafted him sixth? I think it was sixth, right?
Ekwonu?
Yeah. Yeah, so to have a top 6 pick in the NFL draft, and then if he doesn't play him, that's unreal to me.
Absolutely ridiculous. He has not shown one bit of why he deserves this job still. Nothing.
Zero confidence.
They're every single, even Teddy Bridgewater was coming out in interviews saying, they don't even practice red zone drills. 2-minute drills.
But he's still around somehow. Somehow Borrego got fired before Matt Rhule, and I'm not a Borrego fan.
Somehow the Charlotte FC coach got fired before him, and they were given absolutely nothing, given pennies for the MLS, and they're in a playoff position, and it's an absolute nightmare. And then you have the whole thing in Rock Hill with David Tepper. It's just an absolute nightmare across the board with everything they've done. You have no hope for the future, and we keep talking about this whenever we talk about decision making in sports. It all has a big chunk of it has to revolve around hope and potential. It does.
Yep.
There's no hope anywhere for this Panthers franchise. The defense is great. If they just made a few small minor adjustments, this could be a great team. This could be a playoff team if they got the right quarterback in or the right coach in. The offensive line, they actually did some sneaky good things with the offensive line this offseason. But when you're warming up to the idea of Sam Darnold being your quarterback, you're not going anywhere. And when Matt Rhule is your head coach, you're not going anywhere.
I 100% agree. And it sucks that Tom Brady came out of retirement. But honestly, it might have been for the best, because at least now there's an excuse. Because if he was gone, the division was wide open. You have Marcus Mariota and who's the Saints quarterback going to be this year?
Sorry, you said Saints. Jameis Winston.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Famous Jameis, Marcus Mariota, and then it would have been some bum on Tampa Bay, and then us.
And then some bum on Carolina.
Yeah, and now Tom Brady's back. But I think out of those 4 teams, obviously not now with the Bucs, but out of maybe us, the Falcons, and the Saints, the Panthers have the most potential in that division. The defense is already in place. Like there's the pieces are there, and nothing's being done about it.
And also, I'm so tired of seeing Robbie Anderson scrap.
It's so annoying. It's not worth it. Because if he was an all-pro wide receiver, then sure.
Exactly. And he keeps talking this big game and acting like, oh, yeah, man, this ain't worth it. Oh, nah, dog, this ain't it. All this bull crap on Twitter. Oh, I'm thinking about retiring. Cool, man. Retire. You act like you were this amazing receiver last year. You were pitiful last year. As bad as Sam Darnold was, you dropped all of his passes. I mean, he was atrocious last year.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me to see him tweet about retirement. And then 3 days later, he changes his jersey number and posts it. And everybody's freaking out because he's wearing number 3 now.
It's cool, man. Every NFL player wants to retire. The second mini camp start and the second the season ends, they want to retire. Every single NFL player ever. And he just keeps talking and talking and talking until he backs it up on the field. Why even listen?
Yeah. And even if Baker comes in, whatever, I don't know how to feel about Robbie Anderson. Like, I don't see him increasing that production back to what it was before last year.
And we gave Ian Thomas all this money. I don't know if I can talk about Panthers much more. It just Panthers piss me off more than any other sports team I love. Any other sports team I love.
To see the fall of the Panthers from that Super Bowl year and that insane defense with Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, prime Cam Newton, to see that fall off all the way to here in such a short amount of time, it feels like is crazy.
Well, it was the one moment. We'll have an article on CarterCast.com talking about this coming out tomorrow. But the one moment where the Panthers, the entire franchise changed in one freaking play was when TJ Watt injured Cam Newton on that Thursday night game in Pittsburgh.
Yep, that was it.
The trajectory of the franchise, down the toilet. Bam, it was over. It was over right then and there. And it's been that way for the last 4 years. Just nonstop, miserable football every year. Just hopeless, false hope football every single year, year in and year out. Let's talk about something different in the NFL. It's just anything different. Just give me something.
All right, yeah. So I want to hit a little bit on guys like Terry McLaurin, Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar Jackson actually reported, but guys like Terry McLaurin who don't report to these OTAs or whatever they're called, just for because they don't have the guaranteed contract money yet. How do you feel about that? Because I think it's the right thing to do, especially if a team has been committed to getting them long term. Because every snap you take in practice, you're risking a serious injury where that team does not have to pay you.
If I was an NFL player, there is a 0% chance I would show up to any of those mini camps if I was in a contract dispute. That's the stupidest thing you can do because every single offseason, every single August, and we're going to see it this August as well, because people will do their fantasy drafts in end of July, early August, and get royally screwed and during practices in August during training camp where guys are tearing their ACLs. A lot of guys, and some of these guys are having to practice on freaking turf. Terrible for you. And so, no, I would not take a snap. They're 100% doing the right thing. Also, it's just ridiculous how NFL contracts are structured. There's hardly any guaranteed money. No, that's I'm surprised more player empowerment hasn't come in the NFL. It's NBA, all your money's guaranteed. John Wall has been just sniffing his fingers, eating Cheetos all day, making $40 million. Meanwhile, someone like Terry McLaurin only gets half of his deal guaranteed because they sign these ridiculous contracts. Take Von Miller, Buffalo. It's 4 years, $200 million, but in reality, it's $60 million.
Yeah, none of it's guaranteed. And the NFL is just still such an owner-driven league, whereas the NBA is so much more player-driven, so much more player power in the NBA.
Also, you have to think about there's 53 dudes on an NFL roster plus practice guys.
And that is true. I agree with that. So it is. You have to take that into account. But you got guys like Deshaun Watson who didn't play a snap last year getting triple-figure million guaranteed money. That's a little crazy to me. Without
and who knows if he's even going to play?
He might not even play a snap. Maybe the Browns are just holding on to Baker. I don't even think Baker would play anyways. It would be Brissett, even if Deshaun Watson got convicted or whatever.
Yeah, it's we're about a good 3 weeks away. We're about 3 weeks away. Once NBA Summer League is 2 days in, then you start thinking about your fantasy drafts. Really, you're okay, you look at random dudes like Tyler Algier on the Falcons. He's he might be a late round, decent backup flex option if someone gets hurt, kind of thing.
My search history becomes best sleepers in 2022 NFL fantasy drafts.
And then, I'm ready for football to come back. I'm ready for college football. I'm ready for the NFL. You just get worn out. I love basketball. Basketball is number one. You do get worn out with it because even when we were talking college basketball, it's like, okay, we got to talk college basketball for a minute because
Yep.
it was so draining this year.
It was. I 100% agree. We went crazy. Well, obviously, Duke and Carolina both went to the Final Four with one of those teams making it to the national championship. But yeah, we went crazy with the college basketball content.
Yeah, it's so cool. Little Caesars is the pizza sponsor of the NFL. They out pizzaed the Hut.
They did. Shout out Little Caesars. Everybody always rags on Little Caesars. We love it. Pizza. Good for them.
Love Little Caesars. Big Little Caesars guy. Love Little Caesars. Everything they're about. Yeah, I'm ready for football though.
I am too.
Well, we need to get Preston Johnson back in here for college football.
We need some more some lines because he gave out some winners last year.
Those were dope.
I agree.
Yeah. And then we'll get Brian back on for over-unders, NFL. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready for college football to come back. Is that it for today?
That's all I got. Yeah. We'll come back on here and talk about the finals. And then, I'm good for today though.
Yeah. Awesome. We are trying to get interviews booked right now. We will let you know as soon as we get those booked. Make sure to check out all our social media, YouTube, the whole deal, cartercast.com. And also make sure to be on the lookout for Grant and I starting our own BYU podcast. That'll be coming out soon. Everything, the logo, website, all that stuff's getting on there. And we'll have those episodes on cartercast.com, and it will be a separate podcast feed. It will not be under the Cartercast podcast feed. It will be on its own podcast feed. We'll have interviews already lined up for that as well. And then make sure to check out TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. And we'll be back after Game 6 of the finals. Bye.